So I'm just starting recording now, and I guess we'll just go from here. Should
Hi
we?
everyone,
Hello. Uh,
and welcome.
this is a bit different of a format, but we're gonna be watching your show from yesterday. This is Saturday, and we're gonna give some visual comments on it.
Hell yeah.
All right, so let's go. Starting, the opening set's pretty good. I think all the diagonals are lining up pretty nicely here.
It does look very nice, but in the center it does look like people are a little closer together. I don't know if that's just because there's more people there, but we can make sure that our spacing is correct, especially between the 35 and the 40.
All right, let's just watch a little bit, and I have some other
Yeah.
comments to give once we do that. Okay, first of all, it says. Okay, hold on. Skip forward a bit. You may begin your performance.
Hmm. You may take the field in exhibition should be the correct statement, I would think.
So we're gonna ding the announcer there.
Alright, that's not off of you.
That's not off you guys. Also, let's look down here. I really like this salute. Just to give a shout out.
The salute was very good. Though, I know we were rushed, but we do need to make sure that we are all set up completely before we start doing anything. Especially color guard. Either do it when Luke and Lee are at their stands and doing stuff, but while we're
Rather,
still, because right now everyone should be completely set, not moving. All right, band. Also on that note, can we go back like 2 seconds, Michael? Like, yeah. Okay, look, everybody moves their instruments at different times, especially in the saxophones. It's super noticeable.
right there.
So make sure that we're watching Luke the entire time after he's running up to the stand. In OK Snap, we need to make sure we bring up our instruments faster.
Yep.
Uh,
Zooming in on Joel here. We gotta get you mic'd, buddy.
yeah, we do. I
I just want
wish
to
that we had
emphasize.
gotten a video where we could see the entire ripple.
Yeah, me too. I'm not gonna. I can judge on this one bit here. Not to point out individuals, but just using this as an example. The people within their lines, this entire line should all go at the same time. If we watch that back, they all move slightly differently, so make sure we're counting there.
Yes, much counting. Luke, we're conducting now, not moving our hair.
All right, give me 1 second. Okay, I want to go back 10 seconds. So as these lines move, I've said this in practice, but maybe we haven't really talked about it that much. We need to be watching down the lines because if we go forward to
Right
here,
there. Those are
this
supposed to be
this is a
straight
line, this
lines.
is a line, this is a line, up to about right here, I would say. These are all still lines, but you look here,
And they're all supposed to be
they're
parallel still.
all supposed to be straight lines. So I actually spot I see a really good one. So hold on, we'll go do this. Watch this line throughout this whole move. That stays a line up until the back person moves away and we move towards the circle set. But if we watch, perhaps, let's say,
Especially, so look on the two steps outside the 40 on this move.
this one,
No, 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 no.
this one,
Inside the 40, I
oh, this
apologize.
one.
Look, they become a curve, and the front person is closer to the 40 than the second person behind them. And look at the line to the left. The line to the left, they are not parallel at all. They started out parallel, but now they're at completely different angles, whereas this is supposed to be an entire block while somewhat in a weird shape, or technically in a block. It's just rotating. And then off to the right, there becomes less people, and Joel was out of position, but like the person on the 45, not in a line at all. So we need to figure that out.
I would say in general, people in back, we're not going to come in and fix individual dots here. We don't have time. what I would say is everyone behind the person in the front, just make sure you're really paying attention and guiding down so that these stay straight lines. These five here, not bad,
Pretty good.
pretty good.
Pretty good. We
These
just need to
ones,
make
a
sure
little bit of work.
because the quality on this video isn't like insanely high.
It's
Like it's
okay.
not. But I can't look and be like who's out of step. Is what I'm trying to say. But throughout this move, from what I remember, most of you were in step. But we do need to watch Luke a lot more. People that are like 3 or 4 people back in a line, I notice that you don't watch Luke and you watch the people's feet in front of you. We can't be doing that.
What I'm gonna
So
say here is in this next section, leading up to the circle set, we can just go through this. I feel like a lot of people, when we transition out of these, start to get out of step. And look, watch, well, the drum meter's out of shot here, but when they come back in shot, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are slightly out with them, see?
many people halted early there as well. We need to make sure stop. That's right when you come to a halt. We can't be halting before the triplet into
Five,
that
six,
move.
7, 8, 1.
A
Movement
lot
should
of people
stop here.
halted on 7 or not 7, not 8, but on 1 because your left foot comes into your right foot.
On 1.
So the right side of the circle looks like the right outer ring is just a little too far.
Yeah, I would agree.
Not the outermost person, but we're trying to stretch too much. So we need to make sure that we're having a good arc and that we're not doing it. From the center, from this angle, it's really hard for me to tell if the inner circles look like circles right now or if they're just a big clump. So
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we have clearly defined circles.
This is sort of visually silent right now, but if we have time, we have a visual planned for here.
Alright, so coming out of that move, we're still holding the note when we start the move, like there's no beat, but the lower end of the band starts playing. So we all need to make sure that we know exactly when to take off. Because if we don't take the step on the first beat, your entire rest of the move until you halt again is pretty much going to be messed up. So like right there, you can see a lot of people are just out of step. Not even like a whole beat. Some of people are like a half beat off, which is even worse because then it's even more obvious that you're out of step.
Yeah, I want to say here, coming out of that, the woodwinds adjust pretty well. See, you guys get there. Brass half of the block, you guys really need to be watching Luke here, really paying attention. Also, your horns need to be pointed up at the box, which is above the 50. So your horns should all be sort of more towards the center, and that should help with watching Luke and keeping your feet in time. Because if we look here,
A lot of horns are facing to the left.
a lot of horns facing
From
the left, a lot of really slow feet in this area. We also did very, very briefly go over this drill here. I'd like to see some crisper lines coming in. Four,
a
five,
lot
six.
of the
Right
brass
here,
now,
this
a lot
line
of the
mostly
brass,
hit. This line
yeah,
mostly hit. This one is a bit slanted, so if we can work on fixing that.
yeah, a lot of the brass are also stepping in buckets in that last move, and they're marching backwards. We need to make sure that we're thinking up to make sure that our leg can swing from the hip rather than from the knee. That'll use a lot less energy. It takes a lot of energy. Also, we need to figure out how to come into halter. A lot of people don't turn their foot enough when they come into the halt initially. And so after we've halted, a lot of people adjust their feet to go into turnout. So everyone needs to practice going into turnout immediately into a halt rather than halting and then a beat later adjusting your entire body.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. So this part, I feel like this is all fine. Brass, um,
Make sure that we're turning together.
foot timing
So,
here in general
so
is either off or a little bit slow from Lee. Just make sure you're watching. I know right here it's difficult because there's nothing to see, but when you come face around forward, that should be solid.
Woodwinds, coming from the last move where we're all moving backwards and then we move forwards into that triangle, we need to make sure that we take our foot all the way back to push off on 8 into the first step of the moving forward. So when you're moving backwards, you get your foot all the way back so you can push off on beat 1 rather than just kind of waiting around beat 8. A lot
So
of people are doing that right now.
on this halt here, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Movement should halt here, and you should be in lines. So this is a triangle, right? See how this furthest line is sort of curved this way? I know, Joel, that's a long distance to make, but you guys need to be straight lines covered down on beat
And
1.
then in the back, you can see that people are trying to adjust to make straight lines. And while you should be trying to adjust to the front people, but during a halt, we can't be moving at all. We have to be confident in our mistakes.
Oh, we had some people on this side take off a little bit early. So just make sure you know when your moves are.
That visual was very good. Everyone did very well on that visual. Overall, a lot of people looked like you rocked the same amount.
Here is another
So,
thing where we have a bunch of different people halting at a different time. So if we look here, there's like a trickle here and there and there and there. You see people not quite making it. There's movement after beat 1.
we need to make sure that we're going through knowing when to halt, especially on the very final move of the movement. That's where you're making a statement before everyone claps a bunch.
I don't know what this
This
is, but
she's
go
done it
Lee.
every time. Go
The
Lee.
da 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 is pretty strong, but I think it could be slightly more together.
Yeah. Make sure that you're using a lot of breath, making sure that you're loud. On the last measure or so, we should be insanely loud because we're trying to show off to the crowd before we move.
Ooh, that was interesting. Watch when these initiations happen. So Luke is connecting here, Lee's connecting there, and we
Luke is
always
watching Lee.
movement starts on the end of 8, and then the downbeat, the heel of the left foot should hit on 1. So let's just see how that is across the whole block.
What?
This side versus this side. I feel like they start at different times.
They do. And then by the second beat, most
Ah,
people are out of step. It looks like going
so look,
faster into the slow 4 forward. A lot of people are just rushing to get to the slow 4. That's how I interpret it.
so just make sure you're really watching Lee here. Super important. That way we don't have any people having to do like little skip steps like what happened right there. This section I think is mostly one of the better bits actually.
Yes.
Foot timing here is much improved because we all hit that hold and now we're watching Lee, so it's fine.
We are all watching Lee. That's the important part. Also, remember throughout this entire move, our horns were supposed to be flat to the back sideline.
No, they weren't.
Not. They're not?
They're supposed to be facing Lee.
Oh, I apologize.
What
But
I would
some
like
people were a little off.
like to clarify here something though. As we're going through these steps to turn around, our feet should be toe down when we're turning around. Shouldn't be up.
It's
Just a
It's
thing.
quite hard to spin on your heels. You can use a lot more energy and a lot more directional control when you're using your toes. That's how come we highly encourage it, and it's pretty much required for turning. So, So a lot of late halts on that.
Tempo change. Let's see how we do step foot timing wise. All right, immediately right away. So we have this new tempo set, right? And I want you to watch this section over here because this is what just caught my eye. Dut 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 dut. I'm not sure if I see everyone in step there. We're facing front field. We have Luke. Should be fine.
Also, our horns are still facing the box. And yes, I know we've gone through over half our show now. We need to get some more energy. We're quite late in the season by now. Our instruments should be able to be held up. I know it's really hard. I know. I've been doing it at home, and it's really hard to hold your instrument up for that long. Using that much energy and that much thought to march with good technique. We need to make sure though that our horns are up. Because you can play insanely loud, but if your horn's facing to the ground, so much of the sound is lost to the ground and doesn't even reach the audience, and you're not contributing to the band. And then the visual element is just completely lost. So we need to make sure our horns are up into the box.
Also, I want to take um, a moment to say that this is actually one of the much better performances you guys have done. I thought that a lot went really well in this one, and I
I
don't
was
want to just
really
point out
excited
the negative
after.
stuff. We were super hyped. I'm so excited for you guys. Like,
Michael might have yelled in the car about how excited he was. It
yeah.
might have hurt my ears. It might have happened. No confirmation. Still waiting.
This side of the group, though, throughout this move, you guys actually do pretty well at maintaining these lines and then transitioning into the new ones here. Let me see if I can go back just a little bit. Pause it on the right moment. Because all the lines on this move hit 2, 3, 4, 1. This
I
hits
really liked that move.
uh,
Very nice.
a little bit more attention to detail could be had here to make sure you're just covering down quite perfectly. But
We
otherwise,
have to
that's pretty good.
we have to remember if you are ever in the front of a line, you need to hit your dot. You need to because everybody else is supposed to conform to you. But that also being said, everybody in the back of the line, you have to form to the person in the front. So like 2 steps outside the 40, the 3 people behind them should have been behind that front person. We need to make sure that we're getting those lines because the front person doesn't know where anyone behind them because they're watching the drum major. And you have to watch the drum major and the other people in the form. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
My desktop Facebook is just ringing in the background here. I
Interesting.
can't stop it. Hold on a
Tell
second.
them to go away. You
Uh,
can edit this in iMovie.
I don't have a Mac. All right.
I know. All right.
This whole section,
I really appreciate it.
I don't know why, but
So,
this whole bit just like clicks. Maybe you guys really enjoy this. I don't know. This ripple looks really good.
this ripple, let me tell you, so good.
That is
That
possibly the
that
best
was
part of the show so
so
far.
that was so good.
The one complaint I have is the horns coming up on 13. We need to make sure that we all bring them up exactly on that downbeat there. And so I know when we're going to set, it's sort of slower.
Lax
It's
right now.
it's more lax. But we really need to work on snapping up, and that doesn't apply to just brass. That applies to woodwinds too.
Especially saxophones. Saxophones, you have a long way to bring your instrument up from
Flutes do as
horizontal.
well. They also go from, but they do the
Yes,
opposite, vertical to horizontal. I've
but
cut myself with a reed, snapping my sax up before.
but we don't want that to happen. But the amount of applause you guys got from that movement alone is probably the most amount of applause I've heard from a high school football game about a band
Yeah,
ever.
same.
In all of my days of marching,
In
I've
all of
gone to a
his.
lot of football games. Too many. I
Yeah,
don't know. particularly like football games, but you guys got so much applause from that. And then afterwards, when you guys are playing, you guys were the loudest I have ever heard
Yeah.
from you. And so this just goes to show what you put in, you get out.
Yeah.
So
You put that energy into your show, they're gonna feed it back to you. The audience is gonna give it back to you, and that, like that
and
ripple
then
right there, that was an example of you guys putting energy in, them giving it back to you. Now, if you can put energy into all the small little details, like the up on 13 after that, it'll make that show that much more effective, and it'll make them cheer even more.
if you bring up your and then since you guys played even louder, I could tell that you were feeding off the energy the audience was giving to you. So if you can make the audience super hyped, you'll do even better because you'll be feeding off the energy the audience is reciprocating back to you. So it's just like an ever growing, you're going to be doing better because you did better before.
Yeah. Um, when we were in high school, Tech,
Back in my
who
day.
I am not gonna call out by saying it was definitely not Herman, told our band in order to
No,
improve, we needed to all jump off a bridge together. And now
I kind of
that
understand.
that sounds really bad, but what it means, it took a while to figure this out. Um, it means
I do agree with it.
you all have to commit. You all have to make a commitment to putting energy into it, to doing those small things. You know what
If
I
you
mean?
can commit to something, you will do so much better doing it. Like you can say, yeah, I want to do straight leg technique, but you're not committing to it. But if you know that you're going to do your technique right, you're going to have an open second there. You're going to look so much more
Ooh,
confident doing it.
speaking of open seconds,
Speaking of open seconds. So,
okay, the flags are kind of in the way. I
many
think,
people halted late. So, on this move in particular, we need to make sure that we don't bring our foot in and then go to an open second. We plant our right foot and our left foot just goes to an open second. It doesn't touch our right foot and then go to an open second.
yeah,
It's just straight into an open second.
the open second angles as well, or the how wide they are. I'll point out. I think some people might have been absent when we learned this, or they just forgot. But I'll point out some good ones. This is a good open second. Uh, these right here, these three are good open seconds. This is a good open second. That one's maybe a little bit too wide, but that's still fine. I'd rather you go wider than too small. But
It's a
one
lot.
like this, that's a little
We
bit
need
small.
wider.
This is
Way too small.
and of course closed is too small. But it's still pretty new, so I have a feeling this will get better over time. We just need to clarify that. Guard, your flags are cool.
Guard, we appreciated you this show. So coming into this move, a lot of people were out of step, mostly because we didn't know when to initiate. We need to make sure that we know the count structure. 1. So, in general, the front of the line or the front of the block here was a little bit early. They didn't initiate early, but they went through the movement too early. So their knees hit on like 3.5 rather than on 4. So we need to make sure that we're taking the entire count that we specified for you to take so that we're not early.
Yeah, each of these movements is 4 counts, right? So one, two. Oh wait, shoot, I'm on
No,
wrong
it's
tempo.
fast.
I'm on the wrong tempo. Hold on, I gotta get a warm up. One.
1, 2, hold, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,
No,
2, 3,
that's way too fast.
4.
You guys get the point. Take all 4 beats to get on each of those movements.
Some people are doing it, but we know who's wrong, but a judge wouldn't know who's wrong. So they wouldn't be like, so. And then you go do celebration. And while celebration is really cool, that was a one-off thing, so we just need to make sure. Overall, I really appreciated the show, and I could tell how hyped you guys were when you came off the field. And so, we just want to congratulate you and say you did great.
Yeah, I don't know how long we've been talking about this, and I don't know if any of you will watch this, but yeah, you guys are doing really good. Lots of really nice stuff here. I would appreciate just using your eyes a little bit more. Pay attention to the form that's going on around you. Watch those lines. Watch the drum majors. We've come a long way since that first one.
Indeed. But if you could feel the energy when you came off the field, that's the amount of energy we want to have for all the shows, pretty much.
It's kind of addicting performing. Like, I would say
It's
this is one of the first times you guys have really performed.
if we can do better than this at Everett, I think we're gonna do amazing. So I'm just saying, not even too much better, but get our foot timing. There's a lot of little things that if we think about it more throughout our performance, we could clean the show up to a lot. So
It's not even. It's also before the performance. If you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I know that I have a problem with this and this, and I'm going to commit to fixing it, it'll be better.
make sure we watch our drum majors. They're there for the reason we got them there. So they're not there to just be pretty faces on a field. They're there to make sure that you all are in step, not tearing from each other. I know we say a lot of negative things because it's really easy to point out what's wrong. And I'm sorry about that, but we just want to make sure that you guys are the best people ever.
Yeah. We just want you guys to be best you can be.
More cool stuff like a ripple set. So, if Michael
Uh,
gets this up before Tuesday,
if any of you watch this before Tuesday, I don't know. We just thought we wanted to talk about your show performance and give some comments, but we didn't have time because we're learning the closer on Tuesday, I believe. So,
also we're going to be learning how to jazz run.
no, we're not.
We're learning something like jazz running.
Kind of.
So,
Maybe.
bring some energy because we're going to be spending a lot of time doing new stuff on Tuesday. Learn a new drill. It's going to be super exciting. Also, shout out to the guard with the flags during celebration. That was so funny. I was cracking
It's
up.
unexpected, but the
Uh,
flags are great.
in my unbiased opinion, better than the cheerleaders. So, this is so funny to watch in 2 speed. Alright, bye.
Okay, bye.